What happened to the Temple Boys? Once one of the biggest, most influential, most impactful boy band groups in South Africa. I'm not just talking Cape Town. In South Africa, they had TV, radio, celebrities, everybody dancing to their tunes. Now, the Temple Boys didn't just start out as the Temple Boys. They were a bunch of friends that came together. They used to be with the Rejects, also from Cape Town, nice music, and they run the airways of TikTok. Now, the Temple Boys didn't fall off. To understand the Temple Boys, you need to go back to the beginning. The Temple Boys was making hits back to back. And it was always trending on TikTok. Yet they didn't have any management and they didn't really do a lot of performances. The performances that they did do was at bashes, at gatherings with friends. And then I met the Temple Boys at the Spring Fest of 2022. So the Temple Boys was booked to perform there. I was the MC, Youngster was there, Carbars was there. There was a lot of influential big people that you also see. So as the Temple Boys was about to take stage, they tell me this is the Temple Boys. Now the crowd by that time knew the Temple Boys, but they didn't know the faces. So I go up like MC, I hype the crowd. And they had that hit song. They had many other hits, but we all were accustomed to dancing to their tunes. As soon as I introduced them, the crowd went crazy from day one. Like for real, they went crazy. I saw the potential in the boys and they performed like their life depended on it. That day I asked how much they paid. I can tell you it was less than 1,000 rand for 4 boys. They only got petrol money. After their performance, people started taking pictures and I was like, these guys are the next best thing. But they didn't have any management. Now, normally, I would guide people and just say, do this, do that, do that. I told them that you guys are going to be the biggest, just the internet is your friend. TikTok, keep on pushing, especially on TikTok. That day, they met somebody that was working food stall. His name was Dylan Arnse. I also know Dylan Arnse. He was this fast-talking, smooth mouth. He is really cut out for business because he knows how to sell himself. Temple Boys met him. And then 3 days later, he told me that they with him. He's their new manager. At first, I thought, okay, great for them because he really knows a lot of people in the industry. I'm not going to speak ill of anybody, but it was a wrong fit. Now, the boys, I told them that they need to focus on the internet, and I felt like Keriano, he was the most level-headed guy. You should be your manager. Like set up an email and then people can email you and then you could manage this. You could take the bookings. It's not that hard. You set up your price, you get your fuel money. And then you guys can go do the bookings. Okay, cool. They were with Dylan and Dylan was calling everybody to set up gigs for them. He even asked me, bro, can you show me this and this? I have a lot of experience in the industry. So I thought, yo, these boys are actually going to make it. Like, they are actually going to make it. Until, shout out Ray Williams Johnson. Until I found out that Dylan was really overbooking the guys. I said, okay, I'll support you guys. I drove to some of their gigs and they were still starting out, but the performances was epic. Now, everybody blames the Temple Boys saying that they didn't have etiquette, they didn't want to take pictures, but that was not on him. That was on their management team. He overbooked them and made so many bookings that I said, bro, did you not see the biggest artists in the world? They do that, but they have a strong team. But here in South Africa, you can't do 3 to 4 gigs a day. This will burn out the boys and it will hurt their reputation because they can't stay long. They have 3 gigs to go for. But again, I cannot control the outcome. And the boys saw it, but you have to understand that they were overwhelmed. All of this attention, it felt like overnight. Even though they put in the work, it felt like overnight. And finally, they're getting their recognition. Now, the biggest scam in the music business is do it for exposure. I get it. For the people that haven't put in the work, you have to do it for exposure. But when you become like the Temple Boys, at their level where you already have 100,000, you don't really need exposure because the kids know you, the parents know you. Everybody on TikTok is dancing to your hits. You don't need exposure. But their manager had another plan or way of doing it. So the Temple Boys just kind of went with what he said. Because he seemed to be knowledgeable. He seemed to be that guy. And I can honestly tell you that at the time, I actually felt like, no, he is actually good for them. I did not know the money stories. I didn't know the payments that they were supposed to get was not always going to them. For me, it was explained that the logistics this, the logistics that, the logistics this. So I kind of felt like Temple Boys is going. In that space of time, people started complaining about the Temple Boys, that they don't stay long, but that cannot be blamed on them. I felt like this is their management. These are young boys and they don't know what they are doing. They were just finding their feet in the industry and everybody was claiming to want to help. You know, I have to tell you this, once you go viral, everybody wants something from you. Whether it's just a picture or video to show that they know you, brands will come, people will approach from all the corners like cockroaches coming out in the middle of the night when the lights go off. Everybody claims to have your best interest at heart, but these boys were not being treated like the celebrities that they were. Everybody claimed that they had the best interest in art, and at that moment, it looked the part. They were getting clothes, sponsors, the plans were being talked. Everybody thought that this is that big break, but the management. It wasn't long before all the complaints started coming in. They went to the George the Gardener route. There, they had a great time, but the fans didn't have a great time because they were overbooked. They looked tired, and people started spreading rumors like they were doing this or they were doing that. But if you have to look closely, these were just boys. They were normal boys. They had no responsibilities, just fresh out of school. All they wanted was to do music. I can say, from my personal experience, I don't think, and I know the Temple Boys was never to blame for this. Temple Boys never fell off. They kept delivering hits, but as more hits that they delivered, the more people and haters, you have to understand. There will always be haters. Me, I also complained. I'm not going to pretend like I was supportive all the time. I complained like, guys, if you know you're going to do 3 shows, then don't say this and don't post that you're going to be at a place if you don't know that you're going to be there. In that time, other people were pretending to be the Temple Boys, and everybody was making fake accounts, pretending to be the Temple Boys, taking deposits, making these boys look bad when they were actually not at fault. Everybody pretended to be connected. Call me, call this, call that, call this. But the Temple Boys was actually suffering. They were going out and performing their hearts out. These guys were really, really professional. In like 4 months, they were really performing. I'm not just talking coming to sing their songs or lip syncs. These guys were leaving their hearts on their stages. But the money didn't come. Therefore, there was a little bit of struggle within the teams. Before I knew it, the newspapers wrote about them. Everybody was bashing them, but they didn't give up. These boys are icons. They didn't give up. They kept pushing. They got new management. With the new management, I guess they also had to find their feet. But the new management was people that was close to them, that was always driving them everywhere. Now, I think the new management was their best bet. I don't know the internal struggles there. But the new management had to come and fix what the old management does. So I felt that it was unfair towards the new management to get all of the blame, all of the shame for shit that they didn't even do. And again, the Temple Boys were suffering. Because now you're trying to fix this mess, but there's another mess, and there's another mess. And by the time you get done with cleaning all the messes, it means that you stagnated. So now people were scared to book them here, they were scared to book them there. These boys were overworked, exhausted, and tired. And then the people said they had a bad attitude. I don't think they have a bad attitude. They were just overworked. You just did 3-4 shows, you're tired, you want to wash, because you sweated on that stage. You did 3 back to back. And now they say, yo, they had got manners. They didn't want to take a photo with my kid. We waited 10 hours. Dude, they were traveling 5 to 6 hours. So a lot of bad things were said about them. And the worst part is, these boys didn't have the money that everybody thought they had. I spoke to them once more. I said, guys, focus on social media. You already have a community. This is how you monetize on Facebook, YouTube, because there was fake pages on YouTube posting every clip that they ever make. If they go live, people will screen record and post that to make money off of them. But the boys themselves was not making money. Everybody swooped in. I'm going to show you. I'm going to be your social media marketing manager. But these people that offered to help didn't even have a social media following. And then a lot of people asked, why don't you help? I didn't want to help because I thought that my brand would also take a hit. And how can I be the savior when I also had something bad to say about them? I also said that, guys, be careful, this and this is happening. I'm not going to pretend like I was always Team Temple Boys. After that, we reconciled and we realized that there was just a lot of other people that is messing up these boys. So the Temple Boys never really got their fair chance. Right now, I can report that they are doing extremely good on TikTok for themselves. They all have cars. They've settled into this, and the Temple Boys is still one of the most known. I want to give a big shout out to the Temple Boys and tell you guys that I believe in you. And please know that everything will work out for you. When you are this good, you will never fall off. Keep pushing. Temple Boy still remains one of the custodians, one of the guys that actually carved out a lane. They created a lane for a lot of other artists and groupies to now walk in. They are following in your footsteps. So shout out to the goats. You are the real goats. The Temple Boys are still doing good. The Temple Boys are still the goats. If you don't know the Temple Boys, search out the Temple Boys. Go follow them, go like them, go love them, and support their new music. Everybody says that the music have changed. Of course, these boys are growing, they are evolving, and they have figured it out that they are the kings of making dance music. Because when you listen to the Temple Boys, you can't help yourself. You want to go, hoo-yah! To the other people that still want to walk this road, just know that Nobody is as good as you. They probably just have better marketing teams. So if you plan to walk that road, please go in with a clear vision. And don't let people fool you into thinking that they have your best interest at heart. They want to check for you what they actually want to get, the check that you're supposed to get. Shout out to the Temple Boys. I know you guys are meant for greatness, and thank you for giving us all these hits and all the memories. What happened to the Temple Boys? They're the goats.